At the end of the 19th century, at a time when America was still lit by gas lamps and the electric grid was just beginning to develop, Nikola Tesla was preparing for one of his most ambitious researches. The world then looked to Edison, Morgan, and Westinghouse. But Tesla aimed much further, to the very foundations of the planet. He believed that the Earth had its own frequency, that it could vibrate like a stringed instrument, and that energy could be sent through its mass over vast distances without loss. The migration to Colorado Springs was not accidental. Tesla was looking for a place where he could produce huge electrical impulses without the constraints of city infrastructure. Colorado Springs, then a small town surrounded by prairie and mountains, was the ideal combination of isolation and open skies. This is where Tesla's most dangerous, most dramatic, and most fascinating laboratory will be created. In the middle of the field, Tesla designed a huge wooden building, similar to a shed, but inside which he would build the most powerful transformer he had ever constructed. What he planned was not a demonstration. It was an attempt to understand the very nature of the Earth's electrical structure. This film takes us through every part of that historic experiment, step by step, from the construction of the laboratory to the largest lightning ever created by man. From the moment he arrived, Tesla wasted no time. Within a few days, workers erected a wooden building 30 meters long and 15 meters wide. It was built simply, with a high roof and lattice construction, but the interior hid a completely different ambition. Tesla brought huge quantities of copper, cables, insulators, and special transformers that he personally designed. The most impressive element was the primary circuit, a huge circular coil placed directly on the floor of the laboratory. It had a diameter of about 15 meters and served as a basis for creating extremely high voltages. Above it was a secondary coil several meters long, wrapped with thousands of turns of wire. From that spiral, Tesla planned to launch electricity skyward. The laboratory was also equipped with special switches that could withstand voltages that no electrical network of that time could deliver. Tesla knew that he was entering the unknown, and therefore he built everything carefully and thoughtfully. The Colorado Springs lab was not just an experiment. It was the manifestation of his dream of global energy transfer. Once the laboratory was operational, Tesla began the first low-intensity experiments. He would connect the primary coil to the generators, release short pulses, and measure how those pulses travel back through the ground. His goal was not just to generate lightning. He wanted to confirm mathematically and experimentally that the Earth reacts to electrical excitation as a resonant body. In the evenings, he would sit at a desk lit by a kerosene lamp, writing down observations and drawing frequency graphs. His diary from 1899 is full of waveforms, mathematical formulas, and records of pulses that returned after a few milliseconds, a time that suggested the energy was indeed spreading through the Earth's mass. What Tesla was trying to do in Colorado Springs was unprecedented. He was not just building a powerful transformer, but a resonant system in which the Earth would become part of the circuit. To him, the laboratory was not an isolated facility. It was attached to the planet. At one point, Tesla decided to increase the power of the experiments to the maximum. On nights when the clouds were low, the atmosphere moist, and the air thick, the effects were spectacular. Electric arcs jumped from the secondary coil to the dome on the lab roof, then shot into the sky, creating lightning bolts over 40 meters long. The light was so bright that residents in the area said the laboratory pulsed like a huge lighthouse. But the energy Tesla generated was so extreme that it overloaded the city's generator. In one of the tests, its impulse directly burned the equipment of a local electric company. All of Colorado Springs was left in total darkness. Although some residents resented it, Tesla considered it an inevitable part of research. For him, the blackout was a sign that he was approaching true resonance, exactly what he wanted to achieve. One night, while trying to record the return pulses from the Earth, Tesla noticed something unusual. Rhythmic impulses appeared on his instruments that did not correspond to any natural source he knew. They were regular, repetitive, like a sequence. He wrote in his diary, "These impulses were not produced by me. They cannot originate from Earth." Some historians claim that Tesla could have recorded natural radio waves from Jupiter. Others believe that it is interference from local installations. Tesla, however, believed that he might have registered something much more significant, perhaps even a communication signal from another planet. As incredible as it sounds, Tesla was not a man to make such conclusions lightly. For him, any anomaly was a sign that the universe was hiding more than we thought. As he increased his power, Tesla created electrical phenomena that surpassed anything seen before. Metal objects would heat up without touching. Electric arcs would jump across wet grass, and magnetic fields would lift small objects off tables. The laboratory seemed like a place where the laws of nature were bent. In one of the most intense experiments, sparks started igniting wooden parts of the structure. Tesla had to manually shut off the power while the blue arcs continued to hit the floor. The atmosphere was a mixture of smoke, ozone, and flashes cutting through the darkness. The last phase of the experiments was the most critical. The surge caused a chain reaction that damaged key parts of the lab. Soon after, sparks ignited the wooden structure from the inside. Tesla and several workers managed to contain the fire, but the laboratory was badly damaged. Without financial resources and with depleted local energy sources, Tesla could no longer continue his research. The Colorado Springs experiment had to end. Despite the fire and the shutdown, Tesla believed he had discovered something important, that the Earth had its own electrical resonance, and that energy could travel through its inner layer. Ideas born in Colorado Springs would later become the foundation for his biggest project, the Wardenclyffe Tower. Colorado Springs remains the place where Tesla peered most deeply into the heart of the electric nature of the world, the place where he created the biggest lightning bolts in history, and the place where perhaps he heard a signal that did not belong to Earth.